Hi everyone, this is Stacy with the Aurora Public Library. Today I'm here to show you how to create watercolor without actual watercolor. All you really need is paper, water, washable markers, sponges, and Q-tips. So there's actually two main methods. The first method, which I'll be showing you today, is how to apply water directly to your art to give it a watercolor effect. The second way, which I will be showing you in a later video, is how to take your old dried out markers and use them to create your own watercolor paint. So today I will be showing you two different techniques. The first technique is how to create large background skies with a silhouette. The second technique I will be showing you is how to create more detailed, more cartoony sort of flowers. And these ones. My favorite thing about watercolor is that water has a mind of its own. You never know where it's gonna go, you never know where it's gonna end up, and that's what makes it perfect. The first technique I will be showing you is how to create a landscape with a beachfront silhouette. We will start by coloring the top left corner with the red washable marker, followed by orange in the middle, and finishing with yellow in the bottom right. Then, taking our first bit of sponge, we will dip it into the water and squeeze just a little bit out so the paper isn't soaked. For this technique, I start with the red and slowly use the sponge to create the color straight onto the paper. Taking the next bit of sponge, dip it into the water and add this to the yellow corner. Save the orange for last, as this is the color that will bridge the gap between the others. Using a new sponge, dip it in water and begin to create the orange color. Begin to blend it in with the red paint above, but do not blend it in with the yellow. Using a new bit of sponge, you'll dip it into the water and begin to blend the yellow into the orange. Once all the blending is finished, we will need to let this layer of paint dry. Don't worry if you still see some texture from the marker on the paper. That should blend out with the rest of the colors as it begins to dry. Once your paper is dry to the touch, which should be about 15 to 20 minutes, you'll take your pencil and begin to draw the outline of the beach. Starting on the left side of the beach, we will begin to draw a curved line to start our palm tree. Once the outline of your tree trunk is finished, we'll begin to draw the leaves. Without using any details, we'll just begin to outline the general shapes. I usually do 3 on the right and 3 on the left. Taking your black Sharpie, we will now begin to fill in the shapes. Depending on the size of your landscape, this could take quite a few minutes. Since mine is a full 8x11, I will skip ahead to the next step. With the same Sharpie, we will begin creating details. starting with small bumps along the trunk of the tree to give it a bark-like texture. When detailing the leaves, apply small notches on the left side of the two rightmost leaves. This will give it some dimension and will make it look less 2D. For the two leaves on top, you will apply notches to both sides. Lastly, you will apply notches on the right side of the leftmost leaves. And here we have a finished beachside landscape. Slowly remove the bordering tape and take care not to rip any of the paper. The next technique I will be showing you is how to paint some easy watercolor flowers. The first style I will show you will be on the bottom left of my paper. The second style will be on the top right. For the first style, we will be using the purple, green, yellow, and blue. An optional color I didn't show is red, which I will be using for one of the flowers. Taking the purple, begin by drawing a small half circle. Taking the yellow marker, draw a smaller half circle beside it. Taking a Q-tip, dip it into the water for a few seconds. Then dab it onto the purple so it creates a small water drop. Begin pulling the water up and complete the circle. Using the other side of the Q-tip, repeat the same process for the yellow. While these dry, take your pencil and lightly trace 2 lines for the stems. Taking the green marker, add 2 spots to the stem where you would like to start your leaves. Using a new Q-tip, dip it into the water and then onto the green. Pull the water up and out to create your desired leaf shape. You will want to let this completely dry before we begin our next layer. Taking the purple, we will add a small mark on top of our dry flower. Repeat this process on the second flower. If you don't want to use red like I did, you can use a second layer of yellow. Taking our blue marker, we will then add zigzagged dots along the second stem. Similar to how we did the first layer, you will add water to the colors, pull them up, and create a small circular layer over top. When this dries, it'll look as though you have multiple layers of petals. The last step is to take a clean, wet Q-tip and create small circles of blue. Let these dry completely to the touch before we begin adding our details. For the details, you will want to use your fine tip Sharpie or your pen. You will start by adding thin but dark lines for the stems. Then, using either Sharpie, you will add multiple dots to the purple flower. Using your fine tip Sharpie, you will draw lines connecting the circles to the stem. Then, outline your leaves and create a line in the middle for details. Starting at the top of your stem, you will create 3 points to hold the flower. Using your fine tip Sharpie, you will outline the blue leaves. And so we have finished our first watercolor flowers. For our second style of flowers, we will begin by drawing a yellow circle. We will then take our orange marker and draw a small W shape. For our last flower, we will take our red marker and draw a bigger circle. Taking our Q-tip, we will dip it in water and place it on the yellow circle. We will then add 4 large petals. With the other side of the Q-tip, we will place water on the orange flower and pull up to make 3 large skinny petals. For our last flower, we will take a wet Q-tip and create 4 large petals with a white space in the middle. Make sure these are completely dry to the touch before we start adding details. Grabbing your fine tip Sharpie, we will begin with the yellow flower. Start with a half circle in the middle and outline the 4 petals we painted earlier. For the orange flower, starting in the middle, you will draw 3 large, skinny petals. Draw a small triangle for the base of the stem and extend downward. Taking our thicker Sharpie, draw a small black flower in the middle of our red flower. With our fine tip marker, outline a small flower. Place dots in a circle around these small flowers. Similar to before, add lines connecting the dots to the inward flower. Carefully remove the bordering tape and be careful not to rip any of the paper. And there we have our finalized second style of flowers. So thank you for following along. I know I had fun, and I hope that you had fun. I know watercolor can be a very intimidating medium because water just kind of has a mind of its own. You never know where it's gonna end up. But I think that's the fun of it. Sometimes you get some dark reds in your yellows. And you know what? I like it that way. So please, if you guys followed these tutorials, I would love to see your finished products in the comments below. Right? See you next time.